Alright guys, welcome back to another video. Today I'm showing you speed paint of the button illustrations in regards to the button machine tutorial I showed you before. People were asking about how to do the illustrations, so here's a video. I'm going to kind of walk you guys through it hopefully. So I use Paint Tool Sci for this. I use about a stabilizer of level 6 I believe. And I go in starting with a pencil tool and I just sketch everything out. And then I go in with the pen to ink the whole process. And I go in with black typically just so I can see all my lines initially, and then I'm going to color over them later. So don't make your sketch in black would be one of my first recommendations, just so that you can tell what's your sketch and what is your ink work. And so now I'm cell shading, so what you do is you just use the selection tool, and if you have clean enough line work it should block off the areas, and then you can cell shade them to the appropriate colors that you want. So I'm just putting the shadow in. And this is a Moogle from oh my goodness, Final Fantasy. I really liked playing the Crystal Chronicles version when I was a kid. It's probably one of my favorite games still on the GameCube. So now I took the one part of my cell shading, which is the red portions, and then what I do is I make two clipping layers, one for multiply and one for highlight, and that's just a very simple way to show dimension to the different parts that you're shading. And then I use the brush tool for that. And then after that I like to do some overlays, so I try to make the shadows a little bluer and then the highlighted areas a little more warmer. And I think that really just adds some vibrancy, just so that you're not, when you're picking colors, I could do a video on color theory if you guys wanted that, but you don't want to just go grayer because that will really dull out your piece when you're picking your shadows and your highlights. And when you do the highlighted portions, like on the wings that I did right there, I lowered the opacity of the highlight because normally it's too strong, and that helps the underlying layers show through, which I think is really helpful. And now I'm just adding pink to his fur because I think it looks really cute and makes him look like he's blushing, so I like that a lot. I'm putting a lot of highlights on, and so with these button designs you don't need to be very detailed. That's why I'm doing a very simple cell shading on this one, and the other one that I will be showing you, which is League of Legends Poro. He's so cute. I did a different coloring style, and I'll show you how to do that as well. I just wanted to give you guys options on how you guys could approach making your illustrations for a button design, or just for any illustration. And so right now I'm coloring the line work. I'm going to find that was a little too orange, so I am recoloring it right now. But yeah, you don't need to be too detailed because the size of the buttons is really small, so you only need like 300 DPI, and that should be fine to produce good results because it's such a small circle that you're printing on, so you'll lose a lot of the detail when you go to print them, so it doesn't need to be too detailed. Right now I'm doing the background, and it's kind of like a kaleidoscope background, but it really, my design of Moogle kind of like faded into the background. So what I'm going to do here in a second is all the layers, I merge them all when I'm done with the illustration, and then I select them just like I did right there, and you invert the selection, and then you take the selection and you use the increment tool on Paint Tool Sci, and that will give you that white ring around it. And then I just created a duplicate of that layer and made it a multiply layer to create that shadow in the background to really make it stand out. And so now we're moving on to League of Legends, little Poro. And so this one, I didn't use line art for this one. I just directly blocked out the colors, and I think it created a really cool result at the end that you will see here in a few minutes. But so right now what I do is I'm just using either the selection tool or just my pen, and then the selection tool to block out these layers of his horns and fur and such. And so with his fur, what I did with the blocking out the colors, I did the fur that was closest to the foreground, the lightest shade, and then as it recessed into the background, I made them darker and a little more bluer. And this one, I used the same, pardon me, I have a hiccup. I used the same sort of style as the one before in terms of coloring. What I do is I typically do a gradient throughout the whole thing with an airbrush, and then I use the multiply and highlight clipping layers. So you'll see right here in a second, after I get done with this background. The background was it was tricky because sometimes you get the, for backgrounds I like to use brushes that I can just download, and it makes it really easier for these button designs, but only certain pens show the pattern correctly on Paint Tool side. So as you can see there, I did the gradient I was talking about, and then this is the multiply layer right here, and then I will, since his fur is white, I don't think I did highlights on some of those layers, but you'll see on his tongue I used highlight to make it look like there's saliva dripping from his tongue, but in the end it looked cute. Sounds gross, it looks cute. So yeah, it's a very simple process of just, you got the gradient right there, and then this is the highlight, and I'm going to lower the opacity of the highlight layer, and then I put in the multiply. Just like that. And I don't know if you guys play League of Legends, but if you do, comment on your favorite character for the game down below. I'd really like to know what you guys like in the game. And so right here, I'm trying to, like, the pose Poro is in is kind of like pressing up against, like, kind of like a screen you can't see, so he's kind of pressing up and his tongue's pressed up against it. Because I've never drawn any character like that, so I was trying to challenge myself to make him more like, I don't know, it felt more interactive to have him like pressed up like that. And so now I'm doing the highlights. I think that's what really brings it all together, is putting in the little highlights in his eyes. I think I'm almost done here. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys want more content like this or other tutorials, let me know in the comments below. Otherwise, please subscribe for more content.